Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Weekly Comic Roundup. We've made it to this week's Marvel books, as well as this week's offering from Boom Studios. And now it's time to move on to this distinguished competition. Kicking things off, we've got Batman and Robin number 4. Where we left off, Batman had been temporarily poisoned, and in such a manner that caused it, among other things, caused bats to react violently towards him. But Batman and Robin have been on the trail of a new villain named Shush, who was working briefly with White Rabbit. The dynamic duo managed to prevent Shush from killing White Rabbit in Blackgate Prison, and are working on. While Batman has been trying to find a cure, meanwhile, Damian has been told he's to start attending high school. But yeah, it's not exactly going as well as Bruce would like. So the issue opens with a flashback to Damian's time training before he met his father. His teacher is rather harsh, in fact, Mistress Harsh. His training consists of fighting a group of ninjas while also being asked various questions about history. And when the session is finished, well, Mistress Harsh is harsh in her opinion. They argue a bit, and she strikes him, which does draw the ire of Talia. And leads to her being removed from the League of Assassins. In the present, Shush is working out of Gotham Zoo, and it turns out that it's Man-Bat work that she's working for, rather than Hush, as Batman had presumed. But and yes, Man-Bat did die shortly before Fear State. But, well, all the various chemical concoctions he's injected into his body, well, basically just put him into a state of hibernation before further evolving. He's now very much the mind of Kirk Langstrom and the body of Man-Bat. Also, they managed to capture Robin. Batman shows up along with White Rabbit. Man-Bat then commands all the bats nearby to attack Batman. White Rabbit manages to help Robin free himself. And the scientist that Man-Bat had sent Shush after is rescued as well. Batman manages to get the bats to once again remember that basically who he is. Basically, the doctor turns out was given a poison that made him something that made him forget his memory of what they worked on together, and the poison that Batman was injected with has worked its way out of his system. Scientist explains that clues may be found in what is known as the Terrible Trio. The Terrible Trio being a trio of criminals, generally speaking, who usually wear suits with animal masks. They've since been mutated to being anthropomorphic versions of the animals suits of the masks they wear. But White Rabbit makes her escape, and Batman and Robin go out to capture her. Well, recapture her. The next day, Bruce takes Damien to school. The principal states her reservations about Bruce as a good father, and Damien, as the principal walks away, Damien states that she's apparently Mistress Harsh, and he's pretty sure that she's also Shush. And so now, Damien decides he does have a good reason to go to school after all. And that is where the issue ends. I like the idea that it's a smart move with making the principal be a figure from Damien's past. It would make sense that she's also Shush, but we'll have to see. I'm admittedly surprised that Hush doesn't have anything to do with Shush, but that could just be for the moment, or that he does and is not involved in this particular story. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Batman and Santa Claus Silent Night, number 2, continuing the weekly miniseries. Where we left off, Krampus was loose on Earth, and Santa had come to Earth to basically to recapture him. As centuries ago, Santa was a hunt during the time of the Vikings. Santa, the man who would become Santa Claus, was a Norse huntsman who was left stranded on Midgard with his quarry, Krampus. The two became friends, and the traditions we now think of for Christmas sprang from them. However, Krampus is loose on Earth and trying to basically take Christmas for himself, making it a holiday of fear. So the issue opens. Santa leaves to help Zatanna, who was had an exploding poisonous flower exploded in her face, but she's left a message for Batman. Krampus's plan is further explained. He intends to free all of the creatures that Santa hunted, but the message kind of shows the origins of the Christmas traditions, including the gifts, not the naughty list, the nice list. But there came a point where Santa thought that Krampus had attacked the children, and he was banished to a realm of living ghosts. Upon discovering that the children had been hiding, Santa went looking for Krampus and couldn't find him. And with the veil between the worlds weakened thanks to the U.S. of night terrors, well, that will explain how Krampus is able to enact his current plan. The next day at sundown, turns out a bunch of the Draug are sleeping underneath the bridge, and Miss Martian, disguised as a Draug, flies in with a UV bomb, getting their attention. They attempt to follow. However, additional reinforcements have been called rather than just Miss Martian. Black Canary and Green Arrow were there, with Ollie being quite glad that he didn't get rid of his wooden arrow shaft, his wooden shafts. Black Canary manages to disorient the Draug, while Green Arrow is able to take down more than a few. But Krampus is attempting to find all of the creatures that Santa hunted and imprisoned in his time, with the aim of loosing them upon the earth. The issue ends with Superman arriving in Bloodhaven. More than a little disappointed that Batman, his best friend, never told him that, well, Batman knows Santa. And that is where the issue ends. I love that. Superman shows up looking all righteous and mad, and it's like, you never told me you knew Santa. It's such a Clark moment. I still remember I think it was there was an episode of Justice League that was Christmas themed and kind of followed all of the Leaguers on Christmas adventures, and Martian Manhunter spent the holiday with the Kents, and Ma Kent mentions having to wrap Clark's presents in lead, and so that he couldn't peek, and Clark saying, "You mean Santa wrapped him in lead?" And Ma Kent's like, "Yes, of course, Santa." So yeah. Moving on though to our next book, we've got Detective Comics number 1079. Detective Comics is current, for the time being, is bi-weekly, or twice monthly, I should say, for the next chapter of Gotham Nocturne. Where we left off, Catwoman and her group had attempted to stop the hanging of Batman, and they failed. So the issue opens with Catwoman going over what had been the plan, and the various parts people had to play. And Oracle notes that the Orgum Guards are making their way into to prevent Catwoman and her crew from escaping. Cheshire and Shoes are making their way through the sewers, with Grundy clearing the way for them. Azrael tells his Wolfen opponent that basically what he has for him is the fire of God, which though he tosses his flaming sword into a pool of accelerant, as basically a signal. And it turns out that Catwoman is Ico, not Selina. And so Ico makes her escape, and Selina is hiding among the Orgum guards. But Selina is part of the detail taking Batman's corpse. Turns out that when she kissed Batman while he was imprisoned, she had a poison that was created by Ivy that would mimic the effects, mimic death, and would be basically caught, kicked off by adrenaline. Selina gives Bruce the antidote, and everyone meets outside at an old abandoned rail station. However, Mr. Freeze, well, he wasn't entirely sold on the plan, and had his own reasons for being involved. Namely, coming from the technology organs have used to tap into the natural pathways underneath the city. But Freeze, Cassandra Cain, Freeze, Azrael, and Ico all managed to make their escape. And it seems that the Question is also getting involved against the Orgum forces. However, Selina knows she'll need help, at least to get Batman's body out of the city. And a ship has arrived, with Talia standing at the bow. That's where our A story ends. Our B story takes place, it would seem, earlier in the overall arc. One of the Orgums is making her way to Gotham to join the rest of the family. And she's killed 2 members of the crew of said ship. They were assassins. Then a third. And eventually others, to the point where only one is left. The survivor asks to be killed, but she refuses. After all, she needs someone to tell the story. She says that the crewman will be laughed at. Yet those who laugh will see the terror in his eyes, and they will doubt just a little, and the name of the Orgums will stay with them. And when the Orgums ascend to their rightful place, they will remember his story and fear them again. The Orgums have hid too long in the dark, and now they return. And that is where the issue ends. Ramby is killing it with this run. I am incredible. This is one of those books where I'm incredibly curious as to where each issue leads. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Outsiders, number 2. Where we left off, Luke Fox had recruited Kate Kane, Batwoman, to become into what would be the new Outsiders. With the 2 of them plus Drummer. Turns out that they had found the carrier underneath the Arctic. And so the carrier becomes their base of operations. But they're basically looking into weird stuff. So it turns out beginning of 2000, a storm kicked up near the island chain in the mid-Atlantic. Never stopped. The military Navy went in, and Kate's unit was Army unit was observing the Navy. And seemingly the sea monster got it. And so the outsiders go to investigate. However, patrolling this particular island chain are the challenges of the unknown. We get rundowns of the new challengers. The outsiders jet leaves for goes submersible. First test of the system, and the challengers attempt to stop them. And Luke has an armor, a submersible armor designed specifically for Kate. She puts on, and they've already found what appear to be a sea monster graveyard at the bottom of the ocean. Including Atlantean metal embedded in one of the skeletons. Basically, it seems that Aquaman likes to hunt sea monsters and leave their bodies, and basically to avoid them, their bodies washing ashore, leaves them at the bottom of the ocean. But a portal opens, and a monster similar to the one that Kate saw 20 years ago comes out. And it's pointed out that it seems to be a baby of creatures whose skeletons are at the bottom of the sea. But Kate manages to convince the challengers to back off, and gets something of a compliment from Drummer. It's pointed out that Kate found a soul in the unknown, and that is where the issue ends. So far so good. I'm enjoying this Outsider series. Non-traditional superhero stuff. It can usually be quite fun, especially with the right characters. Moving on, though, to our last book for the moment, we got Wesley Dodds' Sandman, number 3. Where we left off, Wesley had learned the identity of the man whose body was found in the burned remains of his house. Iger Klug, a criminal specialized in arson, who had been trying to go straight. So the issue opens in Manhattan. Wesley goes to the coroner's office to look at the body of Klug. The coroner states that he was dead before the fire was set. With Sandman telling him that, asking the coroner to pass along to Klug's family that he died, that he didn't die a criminal, he died a good man. Uptown the next day later, the friend of Wesley's father, who's currently putting up Wesley, comes to see him in the apartment that Wesley's staying in. Wesley says he's doing background checks on potential contractors, with his girlfriend Diane pointing out that Klug had a dishonorable discharge of theft from the military for theft and selling of supplies. But Wesley's still feeling, that all of this is his fault. He goes to investigate the remains of his home, and he's attacked by another Sandman. In a similar but darker outfit. The two of them duke it out. Gas gun versus gas gun, but this other Sandman has a gun, and he tries to use it on Wesley. Wesley disassembles the gun, and after his gas mask is removed, Wesley disconnects the gas canister from the other Sandman's gas gun and floods the room with gas. And, well, his opposite number removes his mask briefly while trying to escape. Though, as Wesley tries to escape, he can't hold his breath too terribly long, and the issue ends with him passed out from the gas. Interesting. It looks like this other Sandman is in fact the friend of Wesley's father that is putting Wesley up. Though very few panels and enough features are covered by facial features are covered by the character's hands to at least make it kind of a question. Anyways, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Mastodon, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.